Hey, it's 5.2, step one, how to use Cooper's databases. I guess our larger 5.2 is finding sources. Now that you have chosen your issue for the social research issues research project, it's time to start actually doing some real research. What do I mean by real research? Well, research where you're using credible sources. The credible sources we're going to use are on the school's database, or you have to put them through a test to see if they're credible. So let's start. You've got some notes to take for 5.2 step 1, and our learning target is students will be able to find 3 or more sources to read about their social issue. All right, so first of all, you're going to be taking notes on your Chromebook in Schoology, okay? So you will be using a document that is in Schoology that is called 5.3 Notes. And when you open that assignment, you'll notice that your notes are going to be in a table. And this is a helpful image to show you where we want you to put your stuff, okay? Because columns and rows are important. If you notice here in blue, this is a row. In red, this is a column. And then if you're just talking about one box, it's a cell. So these are just words that Google Docs uses and other software programs use to talk about tables. But it'll be important for this assignment because each row counts as one note. And you need to have 20 notes or 20 rows completed by the time you're done with your notes. All right, so I wanted to show you that first. Let's talk a little bit about how you're going to be graded on your note taking. First of all, you're going to be graded on how noteworthy your information is, and we talk about that some more in the next lesson, but it basically means that you're not using general common knowledge, but you're using something that actually has been researched and proven to be true. How accurate and academic your paraphrasing is. So you're going to be looking for good, noteworthy information, and then you are going to be putting it in your own words. But you want to do that without making it informal or changing the meaning. And we'll talk more about that in 5.3 as well. The last thing is using credible sources. Well, your sources are going to be credible if you use the school's databases. So let's talk about the databases. What is a database? Well, first of all, the definition is it's a large collection of articles from magazines, newspapers, and academic journals, and sometimes reference books. It's basically a place to house information. So you can think of it as a giant can in which we put all of the text that is credible, that is not fake, about your topic into. Cooper's databases will give you credible sources. There will be no fake news in this information. The 3 sources that we're going to be using are linked in a bunch of places. They're linked in the topics document. They're linked in your notes document. And that's probably what you'll be accessing the most often. And I want you to access it today after you watch this video, actually. They are from the Media Center page, though. So if you go to the Media Center and you look for secondary sources, you'll find all of these sources in there. But we linked them just to make them easier to find. Points of view, when you click on this one, sometimes you have to click login or something similar, and then you have to scroll down about 4 to get to these faces. The Points of View Reference Center is the database you're looking for, and then you click on the link there. Procon.org, the link is in your notes document, your 5.3 notes document, and SIRS, Procon issues, it's also in your notes document. So these are the 3 sources that are going to work the best for this assignment. When you get into Points of View, You can look here for your topic and just start to do some exploring. You can also do some browsing through the in the news part, or browse by category down here to find your particular topic. It's helpful to find an overview of your topic if you haven't done that yet, to just see the general information about your topic. Procon.org, you can type your topic right here to find your information, your articles. For SIRS, you can type your topic right here next to the search button to find articles. And you are welcome to use other databases or search engines outside of the Media Center databases, but if you do so, you have to make sure that the resource you're using is credible. In other words, it has been vetted, it is true, it is not fake, just made up by somebody on the internet. And in order to do that, you're going to do the credible source test, and this is also linked in Schoology. This credible source test has 5 different factors to consider. The first is type of source. And for each factor, it's going to be awarded 0, 1, or 3 points. And you want to get a total number of a certain number by the end of the your credible source test to see if it is credible or not. So the first one is if it's an unfamiliar website, if you've never heard of the website before, it doesn't get anything. If it's published, if it was published in like a newspaper or something else, then it gets 1 point. If it's an official website, an institutional site, an academic journal, or a reputable news source, then it gets 3. And you can ask me for help if you don't know about your website. The second factor is author. If there's no author listed, it's not very credible. If there is an organization, but there's no credentials, like it doesn't say who the writer is or anything like that, then it gets 1 point. If there is a name with credentials, it gets 3 points. The third factor is the date it was published. We want to find articles that were published in the last 10 years for this assignment. So if it's recently written, it's going to get 3 points. If it's outdated, it gets 1 point. If there's no date, it gets 0 points. So we want the more points, right? The more points, the more credible your articles are. The fourth factor is sources cited. And so the article that you're reading, does it draw from other places to get its information? And does it name those places? If it does, then it is citing its sources. So if there's no sources cited, if it's edited by a community like Wikipedia, or if they're citing their own selves, then it gets 0. Credible sources are 1. If it has citations, where it's actually showing like the year it's published and who wrote it and all this other good stuff we've been talking about, then it gets 3 points. And the fifth is objectivity. If it's clearly biased, if it's really one-sided, it gets 0. If it's a sponsored source, if it's paid for by somebody who wants this social issue to come out one particular way over another, it gets 1 point. The most reliable is if it's balanced, if it's a news source that is supposed to be objective and not take one side over the other. All right, the next step is to start looking for your sources. You need to find 3. Good luck.